Well, hello out there. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to our live stream Wednesday night. Wouldn't miss it for the world. It's the last one of the year. So thanks for joining us. I know you guys probably have a lot going on, with the holidays and the relatives, all the various foods that are cooking and cookies and treats and, you know. So I'm glad you took a little time out of your schedule to show up and hang out and talk about glass and shower doors and stuff. I mean, even Bill Dobman has time to show up, man, and hang out with us.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Wasn't sure he was going to make it. It looks like he's like on location somewhere.
Where are you?
Outside of an Outback, stopping for dinner.
Nice. Outback. That sounds pretty good.
Oh, nice.
Giddy up. Happy haircut, Chris.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't been Outback in a long time, man.
I haven't either.
That sounds pretty good.
I've never done this from my cell phone, so I don't know who's on here or who's not.
Oh, cool. Yeah. It's weird. It's different doing it from your phone if you haven't done it before. We got Tim Connell. He's always here. He's usually the first guy who gets here. And then Brian Schwartz is here. We've got Brian Jerd here. Baba Tunde is checking in. Over there on the continent of Africa.
Love it.
Oh, man, it's crazy, man. So,
So you're still driving your motorhome around?
I think, oh, yeah, Brian. Did I say Brian? Oh, I did say Brian. Okay.
This is a rental thing, and yes, I am.
Oh, how's that going?
I won't ever do it again.
Aww.
Why? What's the worst thing about it?
The girls pack for they're going away for 3 weeks, and then you can't find it when you need it. And it's like playing a moving game of Twister every time you have to go anywhere to do anything. We got 6 people in this thing. Crazy. 6
people?
Yeah, it's my son.
How big is it?
32 and a half feet.
Jeez.
It's out here in the parking lot. My wife found her cousin who's here in Jacksonville, so we went out to eat. This is, I don't know if you can.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
6 people sleeping in that?
Yeah.
My God.
It's crazy. This won't happen again. I'll fly.
Do they have slide outs on it?
Yes.
Okay. At least get a little room.
Yes, but let me tell you, it's a challenge.
What's it like to drive?
Not as bad as I thought until we got clipped today. Some guy he was pulling a horse trailer in Atlanta in a nasty rainstorm, and he's got a ladder on the side of his horse trailer. It took our passenger mirror off.
Ooh.
The mirrors, his ladder sticks out. Like most ladders go up the back of the vehicle. His was on the side. And when he was passing me on the right, and I heard a smash, and his ladder connected to our passenger side mirror. Just ripped it right off.
So now, did you guys stop and exchange information and all that?
He had no idea, and he had no license plate. I told Keith to snap a picture of it. No license plate. We weren't going to get him. We were in downtown, well, not downtown, but outside of Atlanta, 6 lanes of traffic and pouring rain.
Oh my God.
I'm just going to be buying a new mirror when I drop this off, I'm sure.
Well, you know a guy in the mirror business, don't you?
Yeah. It's got a little,
not the automotive mirror business.
No.
Just put some quarter clear on there. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
probably.
Dude. So now, is this yours, or is this just
No.
Okay.
No, I never buy one of these, ever.
Now you know for sure you'd never want one, right?
No, my first time ever. Never again. Never.
That's funny.
Anyhow, went up to see Billy Britt. His family got COVID. Couldn't see him.
Oh, no.
We'll take a day, travel over to see Greg Stoll in Knoxville. But there was some work on a bridge, and I closed on Route 40 over the mountain. so we couldn't go see him. So it was just a nightmare trip, really. No, we did get to the Biltmore. That was about it.
Well, if you stop into Chattanooga, you can see my shop. It's not much to talk about.
I would have. That's what we wanted to do, is hit a few glass shops over there in Tennessee. Didn't happen. We ended up going to some place called Helen, Georgia, which is like
Germany.
Yeah, little Germany, right?
Yeah.
What a tourist attraction that was. Kids are all off from school, and it was just mobbed. Then you got to try and find a place to park this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
So it hasn't been a great vacation, it sounds like.
I can't wait to get back to work. I mean, it was good to bond with the kids. We had a good time, but we can do that at home. Don't have to do it here.
That's it. Yeah, I always think about, like maybe renting one of those, things, taking it on a trip. And it seems like, it'd be so convenient, not to have to like unpack and, check in and check out every day. But really listening to you talk makes me think it's really not any more convenient.
Maybe with just two people, like it was you and your wife, it may not be so bad, but I love my family and everything, but 6 people, one little bathroom, you feel like a sardine, connecting electricity and everything, dumping the sewer at every place you go. It's not fun.
You like European vacation, huh? Or no?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
not that one, the other one.
Yeah.
Christmas vacation.
So you're saying you're like Cousin Eddie?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's Keith. Yes. Yes, for sure.
Dog peed on the sandwiches.
Yes. That would have been a blessing, actually. We got 2 little dogs with us too.
Oh no.
Yeah. 2 little dogs. I just cleaned up a mess.
Yeah,
That's why,
with 6
that's
people.
why I'm walking away from the van. They're over there talking. I said, I'll go on the live stream. Let me talk to some normal people.
So whose idea was this?
My grandsons. And my wife will not say no to any of the grandkids stuff.
Yep. The grandkids kind of trump everything, don't they?
The weather's beautiful. It's 72 degrees here in Jacksonville. It's just perfect night out.
That's crazy, man. Me and Tim were just complaining how we're suffering here.
40s.
Yeah, it's like in the 40s here in California, man. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know what kind of a weird switcheroo is happening here.
It's coming our way though. It's a couple of days. I think it's supposed to cool off, but yeah, we're 65, 70 here in Chattanooga. It's
We
crazy.
took the trip up there because the kids never saw snow. So Donna said, okay, we'll go up to Asheville and we'll take them skiing. Billy says, don't plan on it. They can't make snow. It's all mud.
Yeah.
So there's no snow around.
Come out to Tahoe. Interstate 80's been closed for 3 days.
Wow.
11 feet, I heard. Is that
11 or
correct?
12 feet of snow.
Wow.
And up north where we have our place, I mean, the roads are just, covered in snow.
No kidding. It's the thing why we moved to Florida in the glass business. I hate handling glass in the cold weather. Hate it.
Yeah.
And your caulking's frozen and all your tools are frozen. Extension cord's like a rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, not fun. Those memories came back way too fast. I'm looking at Brian in his sweatshirt and his beard. You're going through it, right?
Yeah. It hasn't been too bad yet, but it's coming. I mean, it's 40s. I think the high next week is low to mid 40s. So
That's tolerable, right?
yeah. And if you can get a little bit of sunshine on you, it's not all that bad. But the handling glass, it gets slippery in just being cold, and it's harder to handle and maneuver. And
well, you bring in the house, you go to caulk it, and it's got all condensation. You've got to wait till it warms up, and you wipe the condensation off.
Yeah.
Right.
Pain in the neck.
Yeah. If you leave your caulking in the van, that gets frozen up. You gotta ride with them on the dashboard and warm them up before you get there so you can use it when it's time.
Hey, Chris, now there's a good topic to talk about. Like the things that go wrong in the glass business.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about mirror mastic. Can you imagine
Oh,
that? Working
like
with
a
that?
rock.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, we put it up on the defroster, you know, and let it
Mhm.
heat up.
I have an old heater. We used to use it for urethane when we did auto glass. It holds 2 tubes. Pop 2 tubes in there, flip the switch, and it, you know, heats them up. So
Oh, dude, that's nice.
yeah, it's helpful, you know. But then it's, you know, one other thing I got to remember to bring, because I'm not leaving it in the van all the time. You know, check it off the list type of thing. But it helps. It helps. Yeah.
I'm just looking at myself in this picture here, and people that log on are going to think that I'm visiting tombs.
I know it's about the same light.
Yeah, exactly.
For a minute, I thought you
You
looked
got
a
the
little
light in
bit.
the background.
For a minute, I thought you looked a little bit like that guy from the the Hey Vern guy. What was that guy's name? Remember him? Hey Vern.
Ernest?
Oh, yeah.
Ernest?
Ernest.
Ernest takes a road trip.
Always anything for a good laugh, right? Oh my.
Absolutely. So, I mean, does anybody ever work with that old that mirror mastic, that old black tar stuff anymore?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah, we use. I don't take it out of the can. I use the cartridge tubes, but
Yeah,
same stuff.
we went to the cartridges.
Talking about the Gunther?
I love the Gunther. That's what I use.
Yeah.
I use the mastic and the Gunther. I always use the two together, 2 types of glue. Just
Yeah.
a little added security.
So kind
Like-
of the Gunther does the short term kind of like quick grip thing, and then the
Quick set.
mastic does the kind of long term, kind of
Yeah.
gives a little and
Yeah.
allows it to kind
Well,
of.
Palmer has that quick set too, but I never liked it because it set up too fast.
That's the stuff. The white it's in like a white and green tube.
No, that's their new one they have out.
Okay. I've tried that a couple times. It was okay.
Yeah, but they had one
It-
before that it was in a red and white tube,
Okay.
and it was
The
really,
only thing I didn't like about the new stuff is if you needed to build out, you couldn't really build out with it too much. The consistency didn't allow for it. So
no. When we had the cans, we had a heat stick that we used to get it
the
out.
scooper, right? The
Yeah.
heated ice cream scooper.
Yeah.
I love gadgets like that, man.
Yeah.
It's so great. And
You need to use that for your gallon of Briars when it's too frozen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's when you need it.
Hmm.
you want to clean it off though in between.
Yeah. Make
Yeah.
sure it's real clean. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was an apprentice, I had this journeyman. He taught me something very important about when you're caulking, and you're tooling. You always like lick your finger and then tool. Don't tool and then lick your finger.
Oh yeah, that's
So
good.
sometimes just getting things in the right order makes all the difference.
Makes all the difference, right?
You didn't order it in a chocolate flavor?
Yeah.
It comes chocolate and strawberry.
I'm sure it does. I'm a chocolate man myself.
All right.
I like that.
All right. I'm going to cut short here. They need me to drive the bus. So,
Okay. Someone's got to do it, right?
Happy New Year, everybody.
Okay.
Happy New Year, Bill.
Happy New
Safe
Year, Bill.
travels.
Thanks for
Happy New Year.
checking in, man. It's always good to
Right.
see you, buddy.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Send my love to the rest of your family, too.
All right, Chris. Good night.
Yeah, that's nice. Good old Bill. Yeah, so, I don't know. I think last week we were talking a little bit about having a showroom, and what the advantages are of that, and the disadvantages too. It was interesting. We got into a pretty good discussion about it. So I don't know if all of you guys were here last week when we talked about it.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't here.
No.
And actually, I'm literally building a showroom now, evidenced by junk on my hands, but laying some tile right now. But I've never had a showroom, and I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's just kind of in the back of my shop. It's not going to be anything super fancy, but I think it'll up my game a little bit. It'll give the customer something to come look at. It you know, help the sales process, I guess, a little bit. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what I'm doing, but that's par for the course. I just make it up as I go. So is what it is, I guess.
Well, you know, it may be a good thing, you know, not to know what you're doing, because I mean, who really knows, you know, for your particular situation, what's going to be best? I mean, because you know, every situation is unique, right?
Yeah, that's a fact. And you know, I don't know. Like I said, I just make it up as I go, which I've done from day one. You know, kind of a funny story. Before I started the business, I always said I'm not a business owner, and what I meant was, I may have told this before, I don't know. What I meant was, all of my friends who I knew that were business owners, they seemed to have it figured out, right? They knew how to deal with contracts with customers and contracts with vendors and all of this stuff. And I never saw myself as being able to do that because I didn't. And once we started the business, I found that I was making it up every day, right? And it finally dawned on me, everybody else is just making it up too. And until you get to the point where you don't have to make it up as much because you've been down that road before. Yeah. But my gosh, 14 years in, I'm still making it up every day, just not as much, you know? So what about you guys? Are you guys still making it up every day?
Well, you know, I think over time you kind of develop, you know, kind of a track record. So you kind of, like you're saying, you know, you kind of figure out what's working and what's not. So it's a little bit less, you know, fly by the seat of your pants, you know, than it is in the beginning. But still, I mean, you have to maintain that creative perspective all the time, because things are always changing. I mean, just look at the past couple of years, you know, and how radically the world has changed in a couple of years. I mean, so maybe what you were doing 3 years ago is still working just fine today. But I think if that's the case, you're probably in the minority, because I think probably most people are not experiencing that. Most people are really having to innovate and scramble and figure out, you know, reinvent themselves. So there's always that, you know, going on. And I think if you start a glass shop and you look at the glass shop down the street and you go, okay, I'm just going to do exactly what that guy's doing. So I'm going to have a shop that's shaped like his, and it's going to be laid out just like his. I'm going to get a sign just like his. I'm going to get a truck just like his. I'm going to run an ad just like his. I'm going to do the same work that he does. I mean, you're putting yourself in a pretty tenuous position.
Yeah.
Because now you are in direct competition with that guy. You know, you've got to do whatever you're doing. That's exactly the same as he is. I mean, you better be doing it a lot better, or a lot cheaper, or something. Whereas, you know, if you're just kind of looking at it with fresh eyes, you know, kind of like Brian is describing, just like, hey, man, I'm just kind of like winging it. I'm just kind of figuring it out, trying this, trying that. You know, you can carve out a niche for yourself where what you're doing is just completely different than anybody else in your town. And then you're really not competing with anybody else, because, you know, you've got a unique product, a unique brand, and it's apples and oranges. You know, when someone calls me and says, oh, well, you know, I talked to this other guy and he says he can do it for, you know, $100 less or whatever it is.
I usually say, go ahead. That's probably a good deal.
Yeah, it's good news. You know, it's like, hey, if you can get it cheaper, man, go for it. I mean, if that's what your goal is, if your goal
I don't
is,
participate in the race to the bottom.
yeah,
Nobody wins.
No,
yeah, I
but
mean, exactly. I mean, if your goal is to get something for less money, then by all means, you know, do that. But I mean, hopefully, I mean, there's more to the equation than just, you know, what the bottom line is in terms of cost.
Yeah, that's for sure.
no, I'll get that. People will ask me. And once it goes, you know, once I tell them the price, that's it. You know, I don't change it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I'm pretty
know,
stingy with the discounts. I rarely give discounts. My work is worth too much to me. And I've just learned that just because they ask for a discount doesn't mean I have to give it to them. In the beginning, I was given discounts right and left. I was offering the discounts. They didn't even have to ask, but that was because I didn't have confidence in my place in this thing we call the glass industry. After however many years, 14 now, but after however many years, I learned my place, and my place, I know the quality that I bring to the table, and I know the customer service that I bring to the table, and I'm worth it, plain and simple. Frankly, I'm worth more than I charge, really, is what boils down to.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's a great attitude to have. You know, it's like, I mean, I know one thing that my competition doesn't have, and that's me.
Bingo.
Well, I think out in our area, all our shops are small, and none of them have showrooms, or you know, they work out of you know a building, and the only one that does have a showroom is, you know, they're called coast counties, and they're about the only ones that I know of, Chris. I don't know about over in your area what those guys have, but nobody has a showroom.
I mean, yeah, what I call my showroom is just really kind of the front of my building, and it's about 400 square feet.
Yeah.
You know, so that's where my wife hangs out. We've got a couple of comfy chairs, a little glass coffee table, you know, a coffee maker, and I've got, you know, a few little displays. Maybe sometime on the live stream, I'll just kind of show you guys like my little area. It's really small,
Yeah.
but I've got like a barn door mocked up, and you know, just a couple of little mock-ups, and it's a few glass samples. So if someone wants to see, you know, the difference between clear and Starfire, you know, or the difference between 3/8 and a half inch,
Yeah.
you know, they can look at that. So it's, I mean, it's not really a showroom, you know, per se. And I think like you're saying, Tim, is right. I mean, I think that's what most people around here, if they do have something, it's something similar to what I'm describing. Just really
Yeah, that's what we have.
just a little space, right?
I mean, I have a front office, and they can see all the displays of our regular everyday shower doors. And I have the samples of the glass and hinges, but that's about it. I don't have a full mock-up of a shower door.
Yeah, I'm gonna have three. I'm gonna have a barn door, a semi-frameless slider, and a frameless corner shower. Nothing special, and a place for samples, and that's about it. But it's better than what I had. I think is the key for me, and it just gives me the ability to be able to talk to somebody intelligently, and have them see that we are in fact a going concern. Although we've never really had that issue. I've had people ask if we have a showroom, but they weren't put off, I don't think, by the fact that we didn't.
No, they're
So
not.
yeah. But I don't know. I had the space, and I thought it would be a good idea. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
You know, back before we moved to Sand City, that was 20 years ago. We're over in Carmel, and my parents actually had a storefront. And, you know, my mom did a lot of mirrors. She did everything, stained glass. And so we had a nice front office, but then we moved out of there and came over here and we left all that stuff behind.
Yeah. Like, so how much space do you have, Brian, for your showroom?
Probably about the same as yours, about 400 square feet, 10 by 14. But that's just the showroom. Our office is in a completely different area. It sounds like you were describing that your office is in the showroom, right? Your wife's
No.
office? No.
No, so it's like I've got, actually our building is an old, like World War II Quonset hut.
Oh, wow.
So it's like 1,000 square foot, like big steel shed, basically, right? So I've got an office that I built in the shed part of it. And then there's kind of like a little false front on it, like a little Potemkin like front built onto it. So if you pulled straight up to it, you wouldn't see that it's actually a Quonset hut. And that's like a little 400 square foot space. And that's just strictly our, showroom, I guess you call it. But I mean, really what we create more than a showroom area is more like a, kind of just more like a living room. It's more like just a comfortable space where someone can come in and meet us. We can offer them a cup of coffee and just chat. I mean, because I think really when people come into your place of business, they're really coming to meet you.
Yeah.
I mean, people know what a piece of glass looks like. I mean, they may be interested in seeing the difference between this and that. But I think that's more like an excuse just to come in and see who are these people, because to a lot of people it's important to meet the people they're doing business with, and I think that's cool. Even though like there's a lot of people I've done business with many times that I've never met. People who just call me like, yeah, I live in San Francisco and I have a couple of rentals in Santa Cruz, and we just go over there. I'll give you the code. Go in there and change that shower door, and I'll send you some money. And we do.
Yeah.
And I've had like long-term business relationships with people like this. Who like I might finally meet after 10 years. Like, oh yeah, okay, you're that guy. That.
Yeah. Same here.
Which is the same thing.
Cool. But it's equally cool, probably more cool, when people want to meet you, because it's it really is all about the people and the relationships for me.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. Now, Brian, are you working out of your home?
So yeah, I work out primarily out of my home. I have a van with a glass rack, and then my garage is my shop area, I guess. I have, a few glass racks I built. I have an old glass rack from a van to store stuff, a cutting table that I built, so I can drop sheets and cut, mirrors or whatever I have to. Smaller stuff I'll polish by hand with a belt sander. Bigger stuff I just order out, insulated units. I do window replacements too. Those I'll order out for the most part, unless it's a lot of my suppliers won't make like a 3/8 unit for an old Anderson window or a Pella window. So I'll make those, here. So yeah, primarily out of my house, and I guess it has its pros and cons, right? Like everything else. Because there have been times where people have asked me, if I have a showroom, is there somewhere that they can come and see the product that, we're talking about? The answer is no. I don't. If they're persistent and insist on seeing it, there's actually been times where I've referred them to another shop. These guys have a showroom. If you want to go take a look at it, you can go take a look at it. You can roll it, you can open it, you can play with it. That's what you're going to be getting from me. I haven't lost work, doing that. But I worry about it sometimes. In the back of my head, I'm like, is that a smart move? You know what I mean? I don't think I'm going to be underbid by these companies. And I think at that point, in the relationship with the prospective customer, I think I've already sold myself enough to where, even though I haven't collected a deposit or there's been no money exchange, I feel confident enough that I've locked them in. I mean, I've looked around in my area at little spaces. I mean, a lot of the stuff is too big for me. It's much more than I need. And the rents are high, and it's hard for me to justify putting that money out every month. And then I got to hire someone to be there all the time because I can't be there all the time because I still got to be out there working. It's like, so it's something that I've kind of been juggling in my mind from time to time. And I'm sure, when it's right, it'll happen and the right place will open, its doors and I'll be able to get in. But, like that patience, I guess I need to continue to just kind of slow down and let it evolve rather than kind of push it along.
Yeah, I was in the same boat. Early on, I started in my basement in the garage. And like you said, that had its benefits, but they became fewer and fewer over time as I got busier.
Mm-hmm.
And then it became obvious that I needed to be out in a shop. So I rented a very, very small shop, and that worked well. And then I've progressed from there. But no, it was a good move for me, and I think you'll find when it's time, it'll be a good move for you too. Yes, it costs you money, but there's a whole lot of benefits to having your own place, and being able to kind of spread out a little bit and not worry about, making noise at the house or whatever it might be. But when I did that, my business increased also. Because of it, I don't know, but business increased anyway. So yeah, it was a good move. And like I said, I think you'll find that when it's time for you as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I can say the same thing. It was definitely a process. And for me, I mean, when I actually first started dabbling and having my own business, I was living in an apartment, in an upstairs apartment, and I was driving a Honda Civic. And I was I couldn't take any deliveries. I was having a glass shop um, order my glass for me. So I give them my order. I was paying like retail basically for my glass. Picking it up, I had my Honda Civic had a lift back, so I could lift the back and then tilt the back seats forward, and I could slide a piece of glass in there. Size of a shower door. You can usually, and they're not too big. You can usually manage that. So that's how I started out, and then I went from that to like renting a storage unit, just so I could keep tools and glass, and not have to carry them up and down stairs. And try to do a little work out of there, but you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to work out of a storage unit. So I get busted, if I was hammering on anything or whatever. Went from that to like I got an old used fan. So it was kind of the same thing. It didn't have any rack, but I was just kind of sliding the glass in on top of the folded down seats. Went from that to renting a little space from a buddy who had a body shop. So he rented me a little like 300 square foot like little shed that he had, and I was able to get glass delivered there. So I was able to set up a little rack. So now the glass trucks could come drop off my glass. So with each of these steps, I mean, there was a degree of being able to expand a little bit, do a little bit more work, and the cost started coming down a little bit because I
Yeah.
was able to. I wasn't having to pay retail for everything, and it wasn't taking me, all that time that it takes, when you are kind of, winging it. So it's all a process, and it's all really good. And I think you're right. I mean, you don't have to rush it. Just do what you're doing and wait on it. It'll come around. And the opportunity will come around um, for you to get into a better position if that's what you want. But I mean, there are a lot of guys who they work their whole career out of their garage and they're perfectly happy doing it. And for me, it's like it's like the old story of the guy who goes to Mexico, meets this guy with a fishing boat, and he's a businessman. He's like, oh, you could have a whole fleet of boats, and you could make all this money. And he's like, well, then what would I do? Well, you could just spend your days, hanging out and fishing. It's like, well, that's what I do now.
Right.
It's like, why should I go jump through all those hoops just to end up where I am right now? So there's a lot to be said for just like being happy and having a job that you enjoy, and like one of my core values is being home for lunch.
Mm.
It's a big deal, man. And it's like I can't always be home for lunch, but I am most of the time. I can schedule it so that sometimes my lunch isn't it's until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But a lot of times I'm working locally, and I'll pull off a job, even though it's like a 3-hour job. I'll pull off a job so I can go home and have lunch if I'm close to home. It's a big
I
deal.
never do that.
I do.
Yeah,
Because it's a big deal to me. Because it's like it's one of those things. It's one of those value things. That's like, and I rarely do that, but I will. And just in order to meet my own psychological whatever needs.
And see, that's the great thing about owning your own business, right? You can do you. And I wouldn't do that. You would. Great. That works. I have my own core values that might not align with you or Brian or Tim. It doesn't matter. Or Batambe for that matter. I said his name wrong. Sorry. Anyway, that's the great thing about doing this is we have the ability to be who we want to be and do what we want to do within reason. We still have customers and some of us employees that we have to satisfy as well, but it's a good thing. America, it's a great place, right?
It is. It is. And it's like, what are you working for? I mean, what really is the ultimate goal? Is it to have the best toys, on the block? I mean, if it is, that's cool. I mean, that, or is it to have the biggest bank account or the nicest car, or is it just to have that security and to have that happiness and, to have good relationships, because I mean, I can sacrifice all of those things that I'm working for by just working too hard, and just kind of blowing it. And I see people do it all the time, so it's like, for me, and you said it really well, Brian, just that, we're all different. We all have different values. We all have different goals. And that's the great thing about being in business is because you can fine tune what you do to get that maximum benefit that you're looking for. And you don't have to do it the way anybody else does. And your success is determined by you, what you value. So like success, a great description of success is just accomplishing your own goal. So it's like a lot of people would look at me and say, oh, Chris, he's like, I mean, a lot of my friends, I think, feel sorry for me. They think I should be making a lot more money than I do. They think I should be a lot richer than I am. And they're like, oh, Chris, I can, show you how to really maximize, And it's like, yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's like, if there's more money coming my way, that's cool. I'm okay with that. I mean, I can spend money, just like anybody else. But really, it's not one of the things that I value deeply. It's like I have wealth in that, all of my needs are met. I have a warm bed, I have hot food, I've got a wife who loves me, close friends, people who love me, and I love what I do. And I get to do this on Wednesday night. Dude, I got it made, man.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, that's my soapbox rant for the evening.
Nice.
No charge.
No. So Tim, how long have you been in business?
My parents started in 1953.
Wow. And
And
when
I've
did you take over?
And I've been doing this for 50 some years.
You've seen a lot of changes.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I started with my parents, and back then my dad was union. So I was union, and then later on I had 3 brothers that worked. And we got into the commercial end of it. And one of my brothers got mad at my dad, and he took off to Northern California and ran a business. And it ran good, then he ran it into the ground, so my dad shut it down. So now it was my 2 brothers, my parents, and so we did a lot of commercial work up till about 1980, sort of when it died. And then we went back into the residential business. We still do commercial stuff, but just little, a door here, a door there.
That's about me. I don't have a desire, at least at this point, to do commercial. I mean, we'll do a storefront glass replacement or something like that once in a while, but I don't do aluminum. It's just not what floats my boat. I don't do automotive.
When we were over at the other shop, we had a yard set up outside with an Elu chop saw, all air controlled, and I cut up, police stations, parking garages, everything. But the only problem about that, every time you build them, they kept 10% of your money.
Yeah, for how long?
Well, and then at the end of the job, so we did a wastewater treatment plant. And we did all the main buildings, but the pump stations were put in like 3 or 4 years before the main building got built. So at the end, they tested the pump stations, and they were spiking the computer. So they held our money, until they resolved that. And then we did a police station in Hollister, and they put down rubber floor mats. They started coming up. They held our money. So it's nice to go out and do a residential job and get a paycheck at the end.
Yeah, for sure.
Hold your money, because that was a lot of money they held.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like working for homeowners. It's just you go in there, you're the expert. They're trusting you to make good decisions, get some money down, get the balance, when the job is done. It's good stuff.
I did a residential house in Carmel. It was over $200,000 worth of glass. And it had nothing to do with the outside. It was all interior glass, handrails, and every time I build a guy, I got my money. On
that
a signed quote, no contract.
Yeah, that's nice.
And if we're contractors, they want us to do work, they want 2 shower doors, so they send us a pile of paperwork like that you got to sign. Did that, and then they wanted 2 mirrors, and they sent another pile of paperwork. And after that, we said, no more. Take our quote, we won't sign a contract, and that's it.
Yeah, they got their processes and I got mine, but
No.
I'm interested in my process, not yours.
No, we send them all the insurance stuff they need, but we're not signing any contracts, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do business in a very similar way. It's kind of on a handshake sort of a thing. I mean, basically, I want their signature on their check.
Oh yeah.
So once they sign the check, I mean that's a contract. So it's like so I just basically invoice people, and it's on a friendly basis. I mean, trust is the basis of every relationship, right? So if I can't meet someone and establish that kind of rapport right away, then probably we're not going to be a good fit. And, it leads to trouble, if there's not trust, if you can't win their trust.
Like one time we did a movie theater. It was a 3 movie theater complex. And in order to get paid, the materials had to be on the job. So we had the doors in the office over there. Then the guy turns around and sends you a 2-party check. One for us and one for the U.S. Aluminum. Supplier.
That's crazy.
Yeah. He thought he was, trying to make sure everybody got paid. And at the end, the drywall guy just forged everything and took all the money.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Then at the end of the job, we put the doors in because they've been sitting in the office, some Pizza Hut that was shut down, and they're all clear aluminum. He goes, "What's that?" Well, that's what they're called out for. And everything else was painted like not a purple. I mean, it was a different color. I go, "You paid for them."
Yep.
Yeah. So at the
Now-
end, they painted them all.
Now, how do you guys handle, like, if you get a call for a shower door, are you given a pretty accurate quote over the phone prior to going out for final measurements and to collect a deposit to put the order through? How are you guys handling that? Because in the past few weeks, I've had issues with a few people on that, and I'm just kind of want to hear how you guys go about it, and maybe I can kind of tweak my process a little bit to eliminate wasted time.
Yeah, I'll do just about anything not to give a price over the phone.
Okay.
And which goes against some other companies that we have here in town. They'll give you a price over the phone at the drop of a hat. The problem with that I see is you don't know the whole situation. How can I give you a price if I don't know the whole situation? And I'm relying on them for measurements. I'm relying on them to tell me everything about it. Now, granted, they say I'm not going to hold you to the price, but
Yeah,
they really kind of are.
It don't work that way.
And so then I started giving, which is the way I do it now, if I have to, giving a price range. So let's say I tell them anywhere from $1,500 to $1,000. Well, guess what they hear? $1,200. Right? They don't even go for the 15, which was my lowest. They're like, "Well, you said it was going to be 1,200. No, that's not what I said. I said between 15 and 2,000, and they're upset. Well, wait a second, but so what I try to do is I want to talk to the customer face to face. Number one, like Chris said, it's about relationship. And when I can build that relationship face to face, now all of a sudden I don't look like all the other companies in town because I'm good at building relationships with customers. I'm good at the face to face. That's just how it works. My estimator, he's good at face to face. And so if we can meet the customer, I have a very good chance of getting the job. And when we meet the customer, they see us, they see how we operate, and they see the professional looking clothes and the fact that we can put 2 words together without, a bunch of profanity and whatever. And that puts us ahead of the competition, but it also helps us on the back end when there's problems. We've built a good relationship with those people. I rarely, almost never have an issue with a customer when we have an issue with our work. If something goes wrong, we break the glass, whatever it happens to be. It's rare that we have a customer who goes off the rails. It almost never happens. because we've built that relationship and that trust, like Chris was saying earlier, trust, that's the deal. And so I want to see that customer face to face and meet them, shake their hand, or whatever in today's COVID stupid world. But, you know, that sets me apart. And that's why I want to meet them, because otherwise I look just like every other company out there.
Yeah. Well put. Well put. You know, it's interesting that you mentioned that. I've actually been working with bid clips. I've been giving this a kind of a trial run. It's too bad that Jim Evans isn't here tonight, the guy who's the big clips guy. But this is a pretty cool platform. It allows you to, so I can set up a form on a website where they can click on it and fill out this form and answer just a list of questions, you know, about what kind of glass they have. They can upload a photo or a video of their space, and then, you know, just make some selections about, you know, the type of finish they want, the type of glass they want, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So then I get that, you know, I just get a notification on my email that someone's filled out that form. I go look at their form, and I can work up a quote that includes like a sketch or a photo of, you know, a past shower enclosure that I've done or whatever, and a price. And what I'll do is I'll just bid it high. I'll add like a couple $100, you know, because, you know, it's like the other Brian said, you know, it's like you don't know. I mean, you don't know what you're going to run into. But the cool thing about that is if they say yes to that, when I get there, a lot of times I can come in like $50 lower. And that always is very popular with a customer. If you can come in under what you ballpark, and I always make it really clear too. It's like, hey, this is an estimate. This is not a firm price. But I think you're right about the price range thing. Giving people a range of prices is almost worse than just giving them a firm price that's high. The cool thing about this platform too is that if they've got a question, they can just get back to me with a question, or if they just want to make a down payment, they can do it right from the software. So they can just make a down payment and get on my calendar. In fact, I had someone who did that. Their tile isn't even completed yet, but they wanted to get on my calendar. So she just went ahead and made the payment. So that was like a week or two ago, and I'm just waiting to hear that, you know, it's finished up. But so far it's worked out well for me. You know, so anyway, I'm still trying it. I'm still kind of new to it.
And what's that called again?
It's called Bid Clips,
Bid
BIDCLIPS. And it's pretty cool. I mean, it's like it's very polished, it's very professional. And you know, they click on the link, they fill out the form, you get the copy, you respond to it, and it's also automated. So it's like if you don't get back to them right away, you know, it kind of lets them know that, you know, you've received it, and it'll kind of continue to ping them, you know, every couple of days. You can configure it however you want.
And you have it linked right to your website.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So you might want to check that out. You know, just get an appointment with Jim. He'll tell you about it. It's pretty easy to use. The onboarding process is pretty slick, very friendly, very easy to use. You know, he's usually on around here and stuff, but I haven't seen him lately. He's probably out kicking up his heels. But you know, that's a totally, you know, another totally alternative way to approach it. You know, and I've kind of come from both sides of this. You know, there was a time where I was like, yeah, I didn't want to give a price at all because I you know, like Brian was saying, you know, I want to get into their house and meet them and talk to them. But as you know, I've become kind of more in demand over time. It's like I really don't have the time to it almost has to be a sure thing for me to show up.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm That's kind of where I'm coming from. It's just, and if it's somebody local and they want me to stop by and take a quick look, it's one thing. But, a couple times it's like for me to drive a half hour,
Yeah.
to take final measurements on a price that I already gave you. And then I get there and now you have all these questions that we could have taken care of prior to me coming out here. It gets frustrating. I understand it's going to happen from time to time. I'm certainly not expecting that it never happened, but if I could limit it, that would certainly be beneficial for me because I could be doing other stuff, because it's a half hour there, a half hour in the house, and then a half hour back. It's an hour and a half of my day. I could have thrown in a door and panel at that point. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
I had a customer that got hold of me, and he had a full frame shower that stepped up onto the bathtub, and he actually sent me a picture of it with measurements. So I quoted it because that sounds good. And I go out there and look at it. Well, you need to make it a little bit taller. We need to make it a little, move it over onto the pony wall. He was fine with it. Well, I just went out and did it the other day. He's happy as a clam.
Happy as a clam. I love clams.
Yeah.
Good. Well, hey, Babatunde. Say hello,
Yes, sir.
man. How are you doing?
I'm good, sir.
Thanks for showing up, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
So where do you get your glass from? China or?
Yes, they import. There are some importer they import from China down, like they buy in stock in bulk. So we just buy from them little by little. Then we got a glass to it. A China company that tempered glass. They only do tempered.
But do you buy it? Is
So
there a
what?
fabricator that does your glass there, or you just buy it already done?
I fabricate and I do glass job. I do both.
So who tempers it?
The China tempered it.
So you're getting
Like,
it already tempered from China. So you've got to kind of build the opening to the glass.
no, so we don't buy tempered glass from China. We bought a raw glass.
Okay.
There are some importers they bought in box like 20 crate, 40 crate, 100 crates. They stock it in their shop. Then we buy. They cut it to size. We cut it into size. Then we put it in the box and take it to the Chinese company to temper it for us. They have it. They have a factory that tempered glass here.
Okay.
So we just take it to them and they temper it, and we got our glass from there to the sites and get it installed.
Wow. Wow, that's quite a process. So you're doing all the fabrication and then take it to them to get it tempered.
Yeah.
So you're sending it back to China, or is there somebody that does that?
No, it sounds like there's a Chinese tempering plant there
In there.
nearby,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, there's a Chinese tempering plant here. We have 2 Chinese companies that tempered glass here.
Okay. Yeah.
2.
Wow.
But they're not a fabricator, so you have to do all that.
Yeah, we do all that.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Well, my
And
hat's
how long
off
does
to
that
you, brother.
process take?
That's pretty awesome, man. You guys got to know what you're doing to do work like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, hey, everybody. Thanks for showing up. I want to say Happy New Year to you.
And then
Always good having you here. And so, yeah, next time I see you, it'll be 2022. So
Right.
keep our fingers crossed.
Just quietly sneak out and shut the 2021 door real quiet.
Quietly move on, right?
Yeah.
Right on, man.
Peek around the corner for 2022.
Yeah.
Well, Happy New Year, everyone. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Happy New Year, guys.
All right. Happy New
and
Year.
healthy. All
right.
right. See you guys next
Guys.
year.